So it's Tiny Whoop season and it's time to build something new. And what you want is you want it to go far. You want it to go long range without worrying about your Express LRS. You also want 400 milliwatt video transmitter. You want video so clean that you can eat off it across the park. You also want a decent camera to get all these sweet tricks that you're about to do. But most importantly, does it acro and does it do cool shit? Well, yeah, check it out. So it's Tiny Whoop season, and you've got, what, $200 to spend. You could go to the store, you could buy this, but you don't want that. You want this. You've got Happy Model, Express LRS, 2.4 gigahertz, all-in-one, 5-in-1, 400 milliwatt video transmitter. It's good. You've got 19,500 kV beta FPV motors. These are the SE edition. I don't know if that means special edition, but they look kind of cool, I guess. And you've got, most importantly, your good old propellers, or sorry, your good old Tiny Hawk 3 frame inverted. Yes, you can indeed invert the Tiny Hawk frame, and it works just the way you want it to. There's only one caveat here. When we do the takedown in a minute here, you'll notice there's the battery port. You have to unplug the battery port to get the get to the USB port. It's not the end of the world. I'll show you that in a minute here. But okay, here we are with the board. Battery removed, battery cover removed. You can see how perfect this Happy Model board's motor outputs. Just a happy accident that they line up perfectly with the base of the frame. Somebody at Emax was doing their job. The only thing they didn't do was figure where the USB port was going to go, because this Tiny Hawk here has it on the top, so they didn't have to worry about it. But you will have to worry about it if you want the board layout. The board motor's layout is facing down with the USB forward. So if you're going to rebuild this, you're going to want to cut yourself a little port there on the bottom. All I did was put the board on motor mount, on the post mounts of the inverted canopy, and then with a Sharpie I hold it up to the light and I could see through the frame, and I marked out where the area that you need to cut out is with a Sharpie, and then use an X-Acto knife or box cutter, or I don't know, whatever the hell you're going to be able to use. Maybe you could even just use your soldering iron and push through. That'll work. Just try not to do a sloppy job. Probably don't want to use like a a Dremel or anything. That might be too small unless you've got some nice fine bits. But either way, we'll get back to the rest of the review. Okay, this is about as open as I can get it because I've got the zap strap on the antenna to keep it fished through the little hoop there. But you'll notice that it's just a little plug here on the side for all three of the wires that go up there to the camera. My electrical tape's coming off. I'm going to fix that here in a minute. It's one of the main reasons why I wanted to take it apart here is for the review. I can fix that while I'm in here. Another thing is these propellers. I bought 31mm propellers and they weren't good enough. So don't waste your money. Get these 1636s. Yeah. Get these 1636s, 4 blades. They're really good. Gives you a nice lift, especially with the 19,000 kV motors. I'm averaging about 4 minutes of flight time on a decently good ripping around. If you watch my last video, that's my idea of ripping around. There'll be some inserts at the beginning that you'll have seen, so don't worry, it's fine. You'll get an example. The motors are very nice. They've stood up to me fucking around with the board. The first time I was trying to build this, I got a bad board. The motor, one of the motor ports didn't spin, and even in beta flight it wouldn't spin, so I returned it to the hobby shop and he gave me another one. That was really cool of him. Thanks, hobby shop. SN Hobby, you're great. Sorry, I'm here just rambling, but the standoffs, I did take an X-Acto knife and carve out the little notches there. Turns out you didn't have to do that because of the grommets. Little rubber gummy there prevents anything from touching those pieces of plastic anyway. I thought it was going to seat down deeper. It helped me cut the USB out though, so maybe keep that into consideration if you're having problems getting the USB to line up properly. I don't think that should be anybody's issue, but I went with the traditional Runcam Nano 4 for the Tiny Hawk frame because it fits and I do like the video. For such a small quad, being able to invert the Tiny Hawk frame gives it a lot of dual purpose, for me at least. The original Tiny Hawk here, I found that it would get stuck in the grass or some shit, like something would go in between like the fucking propeller and the thing, and it would just not take off. It would just sit there and get stuck in the grass. This, so far, A, it has a little bit more lift, and B, with the egg beater props on the egg beater prop guards on it, you get better protection as long as you don't get like a twig wrapped up in there. But that's just every Tiny Whoop's problem. You're not getting away from that. It's gonna be 10 times worse on traditional like pushers because that stick is already in the propeller. This you might have had a glancing blow and might be able to get the propellers through to get you off or compensate for it. I've noticed it's extremely stable in this configuration. The throttle is very, very low. I'm averaging around 43% throttle to gain like a decent amount of lift. So it's under 50%. Feels nice, at least for a Tiny Whoop. You know, you don't have all the power in the world, but you've got a heck of a lot more power than the traditional Tiny Hawk 3. Not shouting out the Tiny Hawk 3 to be bad or anything, it's just this actually came in all in under the price of a Tiny Hawk 3, because I think here in Canada it's $220 for the Tiny Hawk, and I built this for $183, so keep that in mind. Canada here, our prices are a little scuffed, so you people in America sitting there laughing at me saying, ha ha ha, this idiot built a fucking $30 drone for $200. Yeah, fuck you too. Thanks. But yeah, so far it's been excellent. It's treated me well. You'll be seeing all of my Tiny Whoop footage from this thing from now on, basically. Hope you enjoyed my little overview, and we'll get some more flight footage of cool stuff with this in the future until I break it or lose it or whatever's gonna happen. God only knows. The Tiny Hawk or the Tiny Whoop gods will claim it one day, or it'll just burn out an ESC and that'll be it. But hey, we'll see what happens. Have a good night, day, whatever time it is. Bye. thanks for watching to the end of today's video. Here's your treat. Here's your trick. And there's his treat.